If you love cars like we do, and you look at cars all the time like we do, there's something very satisfying about sharing that with other people. And Flipping Bangers, the TV series, has been so popular. There's been a lot of people asking us for more stuff.
More stuff is coming, but we are waiting to see what the news is going to be on season 4. So we thought we'd do a podcast in the meantime so that people can see what we're actually up to.
Everyone likes a podcast, don't they?
Well, yeah, I think so.
Well, certainly people say they do.
Well, it's a good thing because we get to see more cars and we get to go and look at other people's cars. It doesn't really matter if they're for sale. Sometimes it's enough just to look over it and say, you know, this might be a car that we'd like to do in the future.
Yeah, I get it. So we'll go through the process. We look at the car, what it stands for, what we know about those cars, how it presents.
And conclude with giving it the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Would we buy this car to flip?
I got it. And that sounds like something that I'd listen to.
Yeah, me too.
We're on the road again.
Oh, yes, we are.
And we're podcasting again.
We are, and it's another brilliant, exciting day. It's a crisp morning. We are in Hampshire.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, watched the sunrise as I came down the 303 this morning.
Lovely.
Just passing Stonehenge, sun rising in the south. It was brilliant. Well, not in the south. I mean, it was in the east.
That's a religious experience.
Well, it kind of almost was, yeah. But
let's just point this out. It's your turn, isn't it?
It is. I am going to reveal a car to you, Gus, which may also feel like a religious experience when you catch a glimpse of this little beauty.
Is it the Pope-mobile?
Oh, God, I wish it was now. Wouldn't that be great?
In my mind, the Pope-mobile was on a metro, but that's rubbish, isn't it?
I think he probably had several. I mean, he wouldn't have driven a metro around in Italy, would he? The Pope in a metro. Little yellow one like ours.
Yeah. All right, come on then.
Here we go. Come in.
OK, so I'm just taking it in. We're going into the garage, and I'm taking in the car cover that's over the car. I have disguised it well, I think you'll find. You have disguised it well. I would say that's very, very difficult. So it's clearly a sort of saloon car. It's wide and long, so I would imagine it's a classic of some sort, but I don't know.
There was a model like this that was slightly longer, just to give you a bit of a clue.
Yeah, well, I think the main clue is the headlights, isn't it? They're clearly round, aren't they? I would say
there's 4 of them.
Yeah, I'd say it was some sort of Jag, some sort of XK.
Yeah, you're quite right. And
XJ, rather.
This being the shorter wheelbase, does that give you any more clues?
I haven't. Is it a coupe? I don't know. Oh, yeah, I guess
Shall I just lift up
take it off? Come on,
petticoat a little bit?
Oh, come on! That is great. Why? That is so pleasing on the eye. So it's a Daimler.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a Daimler coupe.
1976.
It's so pleasing on the eye, isn't it? Why is that shape so pleasing? It's just proportions, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, it's a great big fat car.
Well,
being made to look like a small car.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And actually, this is one of the only cars where it's legal to drive with a whiskey and a cigar.
So I believe.
So it's 1977. Would you say that was Burgundy? I would.
I'd say it was a very deep plum. 76, this one.
Our reg, 77, isn't it? Well, 76, 77.
Oh, I thought it was 76, but, you know.
Well, I think it covers both years, doesn't it?
Yeah, OK.
Our reg.
Well, we can have both, can't we?
But I just want to point out that it's got a gold pinstripe, because that seems to be the sort of thing that you should point out on a Daimler, that it's got
It's got a go faster stripe, but it wasn't to make it go faster.
No.
It was just to make it look more exquisite. Because these things already went like stink.
Well, they did, didn't they?
So it's 1976/7.
Yeah.
It's the Daimler Sovereign Series 2.
So you couldn't call it a SOV, could you?
Oh, no. Heaven's sake, no.
Yeah.
Crass.
Lovely chrome grille with the Daimler badge. Very classy looking car. And it's the same as all cars of this age, isn't it? They're the sort of thing that you used to see all the time. Now you don't see them. So when you do see them,
well,
it just looks right, doesn't it?
And I want it.
Yeah, well, I'm just walking round it now to the back, and I'm just purely to have a look, because there they are, those twin pipes that are bent up round the back. It's such a familiar sight, those little lights.
It was a trademark, that's a trademark Jaguar back end, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even though this is Daimler badged.
Exactly the same car.
It's exactly the same car.
Exactly the same car. Originally, there was different levels of trim, weren't there, between a Jaguar and a Daimler, but I think by the time it had got to 77,
Yeah.
It was all pretty much of a much. The wheels, those trims, those chrome trims with the chrome hubcaps. I used to have a set of these Daimler hubcaps in my hubcap collection.
They're so shapely with a great big bulbous bit in the centre of the chrome hubcap.
Yeah.
You know, that's, you know, to manufacture that took, you know, to spin that hubcap, that's quite a delicate shape to make.
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
That's why most hubcaps were just like slightly rounded, didn't have very much detail to them. But Daimler being Daimler and Jaguar
had
being
to have
Jaguar,
a little bit extra.
Oh, we have got to push this boat out.
There is a company that still spins these, you know, in Birmingham. But
Was it run by a guy called Dave, who looked like Skeletor?
I don't remember that,
and his son, Jack.
It was a family business, yeah.
Yeah, it's family business.
Yeah.
Okay, side story. I restored a Land Rover for them.
Did you?
You know that one that I did from the Great Train Robbery?
Yes, that was
Series 2.
Yeah.
That was their Land Rover.
Wow.
Yes,
Isn't
the
that
spinners
weird?
in Birmingham.
Isn't that weird?
It is.
What I was getting back to is that just how familiar all this is to me. So I'm 60, born in 63.
Oh, well, this is banging.
Oh, I'm 60, born in 63. I'm clearly 61.
Yeah. Well, lucky old you.
I'm a bit colourblind, so you'll have to excuse me.
Don't worry.
But it is so familiar, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Everything about it. And that beautiful, elegant little chrome line between the windows, between the drivers, where the driver's door closes. It's
that was the whole point of being pillarless.
Yeah.
You know, when that rear window slides down and the front window's down, you've got a completely open view. So driver's window down, rear window behind it, huge opening in the side of the car.
Down to the south front.
What a cool thing.
Very cool, very cool.
These guys, in their design process, that did throw them a very sort of curved ball. The pillarless coupe was difficult because what happened is the roof would tend to flex quite a lot.
Well, you're going to have, that's the whole reason they have B-pillars, isn't it? To stiffen the car up.
Keep it strong.
Yeah.
And in the roof flexing a lot, because this leads all to the vinyl roof in the end.
Oh, really?
So the roof flexes so much that the paint technology back in 1975, 76, 77 wasn't flexible enough to cope with the movements of the material of the roof.
Wow.
So they would crack. So Jaguar Daimler thinking, that's a bit of a problem. Tell you what, boys, we'll chuck a vinyl roof on it and nobody will ever know.
What a great idea. That's just cracking, isn't it? And, it looks cool, doesn't it?
It does.
It's supposed to mimic a soft top originally.
Wouldn't a vinyl roof also sort of hark back a little bit to, you know, sort of pre-war cars?
Definitely.
And coach building.
Yeah, and class.
Yes.
You know, a classy car.
Yes.
Without a doubt, yeah.
So it works really well. And of course, nowadays, people take the vinyl roof off because they're bricking it.
Well, because they rot underneath.
Yes.
Because all the paint's cracked.
Yes, exactly. Because it will still be cracking.
Yeah.
So you find a lot of them have been removed. But this one, still having it on there.
And it looks the contour of it is great, doesn't it? It doesn't look like there's any bubbles underneath it or anything, does it? I mean, it's difficult to tell.
I'm looking down this side here, and it does look very good, but I think if I just catch, because the sun's quite low in the sky today, so I can just catch a bit of a shadow across the top of the A-pillar on the driver's side, where it flows into the roof line.
Yeah.
There's just a tiny bit there between the seam on the vinyl roof and the chrome trim on the front section of above the door. Tiny bit there. But in general,
it's tidy, isn't it? It's very tidy. The chrome looks great as well, doesn't it?
I'm just kneeling down at the front.
One of the things that makes this so pleasing to the eye is that it's so delicate, isn't it? The cabin area, the glass area is so delicate, isn't it?
That is great. There's a lot of glass, there's very little pillar. But it wasn't like that on the Mark I and the Mark II Jaguars.
No, heavier.
Yeah, and much, much bigger pillars.
Yeah.
Massively over-engineered.
Yeah.
So this has gone from one end of the spectrum, this car's now at the other end of the spectrum, as in no pillar whatsoever.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing. The other thing that really gets me with these is that the power source. I think this is a 4.2.
Yes.
4.2 straight sixer XK engine, and that engine's got so much history. So the whole, like when that engine was developed at the end of the 40s, It won Le Mans in the K120.
Yes.
And then it won Le Mans in the C-Type. It won Le Mans in the D-Type.
Did it?
Yeah, it did 5 times in the 50s. It won Le Mans 5 times. This engine.
Yeah.
And it's not even particularly changed.
Until Paddy Cockwork turned up in his Mini and spanked them all quite badly.
But this is true heritage, this engine. They made a bulletproof engine and they ran it for years. And that was their theory. We'll make a brilliant engine and we'll run it.
Keep it going.
Keep it going,
And it didn't just exist in Jaguars and Daimlers. Military vehicles also ran these engines.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the little reconnaissance tanks, maybe a Scorpion or something. I think they had 2 of them mounted side by side, driving onto one bell housing linking arrangement where the clutches were, and then driving into the gearbox. So,
but they were fabulously fast, weren't they? That was the whole thing. I mean, I remember when they came out, didn't you?
I don't.
Do you not?
I'm not as old as you, Gus.
Oh, of course you're not, no.
No.
That's what happens when you get old.
Yeah, I know. You think everyone's just as old as you are. I mean, there's not a lot between us, obviously.
It's a beautiful thing. Why don't I get inside?
Before we grace ourselves with the presence of this car, it may be an excellent time to have a little commercial break and a cup of tea for us.
I want to get inside, but I think you're right. I think you're right. Let's have a commercial break. See if we can find someone to sponsor our tea break, and then I'll get in it because it is achingly beautiful in there, and I can smell it as well. I can smell the
Hold your horses,
hide.
Gus. Hold your horses. That excitement will be coming soon.
We're back with our beautiful plum or maroon Daimler Coupe.
Series 2.
Series 2.
Based on a short wheel. What was the short wheelbase car, which was customised from the 4-door, which they did in the workshop. So do you know, when they thought, let's make a 2-door, they used the short wheelbase car. They did away with the rear door. They did away with the pillar, because they wanted pillarless. And they had to elongate the front doors on this car.
Yeah. You can see that the
British engineering, big British engineering. You can probably guess where I'm going with this. How do you think this door is constructed? They took the 4-door front door, took the frame of the car, chopped it in half.
Ah, there we go.
A little bit over centre, and then chopped another one in half, a little bit over centre. And the 2 bits they had left over, which were longer, welded together to make the longer door.
What an amazingly convoluted way of constructing a door.
So British, isn't it? Oh, I've got a great idea, boys. We'll do a cheat.
I'm going in. I can't
stop you, can I?
No. It's a really weighty door, isn't it?
Well, I'm a little bit disappointed that I can't get the other door open because it's parked so close to something else.
Get out of the way, I'm getting in.
Oh, come on, Gus. Not even I've sat in this car yet.
Oh, the smell of the leather.
How do you feel?
It's sumptuous, isn't it? And I really like, I like a big, thin steering wheel anyway.
Yeah.
But this is, it's
not clumpy, is it?
It's not, it's beautiful. Yeah. It goes along with everything else about this car. It's thin, and it's, the steering wheel, the way you're driving it. It's an automatic, so it's a 3-speed, is it?
3-speed,
yeah, 3-speed automatic.
The first thing I noticed when looking into this car, it's not like the earlier models. So this centre console actually looks like quite a lot more modern than the earlier 70s cars.
Yeah.
The earlier 70s cars, we see where the clocks are and those black plastic switches are.
Yeah, the big chunky plastic switches.
Yeah, big clumpy ones. There would have been a series of chrome toggle switches.
Across there, yeah.
Which I always thought was, oh my God, they were great.
I love toggle switches.
Yeah.
There's something about them, isn't it? I think it's because the E-Type's got a bank of them across there, hasn't it?
Okay.
And they just look purposeful.
It just looked, yes, purposeful. Purposeful was the thing. And it also looked a bit sort of aero industry to me.
Yeah.
That's what I took from it. So
I do. I agree with you.
Yeah.
It looks a little bit 80s, these switches, don't they?
They're a bit too modern. When I said plastic switches, plastic switches, yeah.
And the sort of bezels of...
They're not chrome, are they?
They're not chrome, they're
plastic?
I don't know if they're plastic or they're aluminium, in actual fact. They feel like they're aluminium, don't they?
Yeah,
feels like an
my
aluminium
hand on them to
plate that goes
sort
over
of
the top.
gauge the temperature. If it, if it feels cold,
Yeah.
it's more metally than it is plastic.
I think that is aluminium. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but then aluminium, and then with a sort of classic walnut.
Do you know what? In my ever prepared Boy Scout way, I have my glasses and a head torch.
Let's have a look. Ah, okay.
Plastic.
They are
All painted.
They are definitely painted plastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
With a painted wooden dash, which is actually coming de-painted a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is a bit of veneer, but it's just heavily laden with like dark-coloured lacquer.
Yeah.
Full instructions. Just check this out. I'm just looking at the air vents on the end of the dashboard. It's got an actual aluminium printed label on it saying, closed for maximum defrost.
Oh, yeah.
This car was designed for people who needed instructions by the looks of it. The ignition key has got four positions marked around it.
Oh, yeah.
So the 4 positions are lock, ACC. What's that going to stand for? Hold on. I shouldn't be taking the mickey if I can't work it out, should I?
I can't even read that.
Well, after ACC, it's got ignition and then starts.
Yeah.
So ACC must be just, general power on.
Yeah, it must be, mustn't it? Accessories.
Yeah, accessories, yes. Accessorise your Jaguar Daimler.
We have our old nemesis, the roof lining is sagging.
Why is that such a thing?
I think it's on cars that have been stored. I think the glue gets damp and then...
I wonder if they ever did it. Well, it's gravity, isn't it? Gravity makes headlinings fall down.
Well, I think gravity and moisture.
What's his name?
Isaac Newton.
Here we go. He's got a lot to answer for, hasn't he?
I don't think
when he invented gravity.
I think it was his fault. So in the back here, we've got I think this was quite a Jaguar thing, having an air vent in the back for your passengers.
Yeah.
And the centre console here, it's got a big air vent, and
Does it have a champagne flute holder?
Well, it hasn't got little tables or anything.
No, it's not quite Rolls Royce though, is it?
But they're lovely seats. They're very, very full. And they're very, very comfortable. And they're Connolly hide on them in a tan. So it's sort of burgundy and tan, or plum and tan. I mean, it's very smart in here. It's a bit tired, isn't it? But it's a smart place to be.
I'm going to struggle to get you out of that, aren't I?
Yeah, I'm going to stay in here now. You just have to
if this car was a runner and we were taking it for a test drive, there'd be absolutely no way on earth I'd be able to drive it. I'd have to pry you from this car with a lever bar.
I've always fancied one, to be fair. But the trouble is, by the time I'd gotten round to getting one, they're quite long in the tooth.
Yeah.
And if you want to buy a really good one, they're actually expensive, aren't they?
I would still be very tempted at the moment, though. I really would. Seeing this, so my history with these cars is one of my scout leaders, a guy called Neil, who I then later went to work with, did my apprenticeship working with the Land Rovers with him.
That's him. Yeah.
He always had these. So that would have been in the sort of during the 1980s, when I was in Scouts and I got to know Neil. He's become a very, very good friend and still is to this day.
And what age of car would he have had in the 80s?
It would have been, this would have been his newest.
Mid-70s.
I mean, a mid-70s car would have been, he wouldn't have been able to afford something in the 80s that was only a 1976 car. So his were so his would have been Series 1s.
Oh, okay.
Daimler Sovereigns.
Right.
But he had a red setter called Danny. And Danny just loved to eat the interior, the leather interior of all of his cars.
No.
So whenever I went in the car with him, it'd be sat on the remains of the seats. The smelt of dog.
Oh, my goodness.
The dog sat in the back, eating the headrest off the back of the seat while Neil was driving.
No, I can't deal with that. That's like my idea of hell. That literally is my idea of hell. I would have to get out. Excuse me, you're going to have to leave me
This dog's going to have to be taken straight to the RSPCA.
That's terrible, isn't it?
It was awful, but it looked like, somebody had murdered 1,000 teddy bears in there. I still felt like I was in a car that was decadent and exquisite.
Yes, that's the key. That's exactly it, isn't it? They're decadent. I was just looking at these, so I'm still sitting in the car, as you can probably hear, and looking at the switchgear, which, as Will said, even on the other side, the light switches are very, very well labelled. And the little wire levers for the windscreen wiper and the indicators.
That sounded very purposeful.
But it's got, yeah.
Oh, but not difficult to operate.
No, but it's got a bit of a sort of 1950s feel to it, hasn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's a strange mishmash in here. And it's clearly a car that's been updated, isn't it?
Well, you can imagine that the switches behind those stalks are probably the same switches from every other model prior to this.
But that's what it feels like. And it sort of feels like they probably were in financial trouble, doesn't it? A little bit.
I mean, this car did struggle to make it out of the factory in the first place.
This was British Leyland by the time they were doing this, wasn't it? But I think British Leyland was BMC was 65, and I think British Leyland was 69.
Right.
So this would have been the height of when they were producing quite brilliant cars, but dare I say, quite badly.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a struggling market as well. This car
really struggling market.
took 2 years. Yeah, 1973, the Suez oil crisis.
Yeah.
Problem area.
Yeah.
So they just thought, well, we've got this thing on the drawing board, but why bother making it now?
Yeah. Hang on. Before you do that, I'm
reaching for the bonnet pull.
He's reaching for the bonnet pull, but
because I know I need to get you out of this car.
Yeah. But look, the choke's down there as well. That's interesting.
I'm pulling that as the bonnet pull, actually. Oh, shit.
No, you've pulled it out. I mean, I'm not going to tell. Shall we have a commercial break?
Yeah, because I now need to fix that.
OK. It's probably just pulled out. It'll be fine, I'm sure.
It won't go back in.
No, we'll have a look under the bonnet. Right, we're going to have a look under the bonnet, but before we have a look under the bonnet, we're going to have a commercial break. We're going to leave space for someone to pay for our cup of tea.
Well, because this is the perfect opportunity. If you like our podcast and you're a fan of our shows and you run a company and you want to advertise in this little gap that's coming up after us waffling on about it, then please get in contact and do so.
We'll leave that open and you can get in touch with us on our Instagram site, and it's Flipping Bangers, no gaps, no capitals, just Flipping Bangers. That's where we are.
We'd love to meet you.
Yeah. OK, right, tea. Right, we're back.
This is the moment.
This is the moment. Will's going to pop the bonnet.
But it's actually got a little lever here, just to the right of the steering wheel, at the bottom of the...
Hang on, I'm going to come round here so we can hear it. Let's hear the full glory of this.
It's going to be magnificent. Ready? OK. OK, full glory. 1, 2, 3.
Mighty.
That springs open.
There's something very exotic about a forward-opening bonnet, isn't there?
Yes.
Look at that.
It means it's a lot more difficult to get to the front of the engine.
Well, but to be fair, you don't really need it. There's so much space in there, isn't there?
Well, there is. Well, on your side there, maybe.
You've got a lot of carburetors going on your side.
I've got 2 whacking great big SU carburetors. A rather small, restrictive-looking air box.
Well, that does look
taking the air from the, so that's the filter. That does look tiny, doesn't it, for such a big engine? The air filter box, I presume the filter's inside this tin casing that's clamped onto the side of the thing, onto the carburetors.
It's got over-centre clips holding it in.
It has, And then the air intake is taken from behind the grille at the front of the car, above the radiator, through tin piping. But hold on, look, it's not just about the airbox, is it? Like, that looks unmolested.
The engine does look unmolested, doesn't it? It looks great. So it's got the sort of finned cam covers on, and the earlier ones had sort of rounded, polished alley, didn't they? But these have got fins.
Embossed, cast in with the Daimler logo. Yeah. I must say, it's very appealing shape to it, isn't it? The way the font on the Daimler, the way the D scrolls around the whole of the rest of the word, from the top, wraps over the top, curls back round underneath. That is an appealing-looking logo to me.
But the other thing that is appealing is just the look of this engine, isn't it? And apparently, I don't know if how true it is, but apparently that they set out to make a good-looking engine.
Well, they achieved that.
They really did, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, it's so of period as well.
Yeah.
It's bang on period. And looking down this side, the inlet manifold is one ginormous casting that goes from one end of the block or the head to the other.
Yeah.
I can see all of the bolts, studs and nuts that are holding us all in there. This looks like, this was made with purpose and class and built to last as well.
I mean, definitely built to last.
It's a serious thing.
So this engine, this XK engine, the straight 6 twin camshaft XK engine, spanned 6 decades. 6 decades, from the 30s to the 80s, 30s, 40s,
Is that
50s,
right?
60s, 70s, 80s, 30s, 40s. Yeah, yeah, that's amazing.
Originally designed in the 30s.
Set out to design in the war, built in 1948.
Yes.
And then carried on till 80... well, I'm going to say 89.
I wish I already knew that bit of information, but I didn't know that.
It's an amazing thing.
It is. I'll tell you what I do know about these, and this goes back to my days hanging around with Neil, my old scoutmaster. He used to help me do maintenance on his. One of the maintenance issues one day was changing the head gaskets.
Oh, OK.
So it's an aluminium head.
Yes.
And it's attached to an iron block on very, very long studs with knots on the top.
Yeah.
This head would not release from the block, even though every single knot had been removed. We had the front of the car lifted off the ground with the engine crane.
Wow.
And we were both stood on the front wings, because his cars were ratty, so it didn't mind if we were both jumping up and down on the front wings, trying to get this thing to go with lever bars in there. It took 2 days of hanging on the engine crane to get it to eventually release.
I bet it went with a bang when it went.
I can't remember. I wasn't there when it actually went pop, but it took some serious doing. And yes, the head gasket was blown. You can sort of see, can't you, by the way this is designed, that it's that old. Because I liken it to my sort of motorcycle engines, which again are cast barrels with aluminium heads, long bolts, same sort of thing, same sort of technology, same sort of year in the late 30s when they were being developed. Hemispherical heads, big valves, to give power. That's the way they did it then, wasn't it? Which is what this is. I can see why it gives you that. To me, it looks like aero engine with the big cam covers. And the way the cam cover flares at the front to cover where the cam wheel and chain are. That's a great look. Yeah, it really is. It's funny, when you look at this now, I mean, I would really like one of these engines. Just to buy it, have it, do it up, maybe. Just the engine. Yeah, just the engine. It's a thing of beauty. There's certain engines, aren't there, that you would say are, I mean, obviously a Merlin, but it's got a bit of, like you were saying about the cam covers and it's got a bit of the Merlin about it. Do you know, as you were saying that, so I was trying to invent my own take on that. Yeah. Do you know, for me, if I couldn't get a whole engine, if I could just get a head with the cam covers on and the carburetors on and the manifolds on and just hang that on the wall. Clean it all up, pretty it all up, original paint on the, the black bits, and the rest of it looking like shiny new castings. Oh, that would look peachy. Yeah, and you know that somewhere on the internet they will tell you, well, this block is, it looks like it's black to me. It might not be, but it looks like it's black. But you know that on the internet, they'll tell you that in 1963, they were duck egg green. And I love that. I love that. It's the same with Land Rovers, isn't it? You look it up on your RAL or BS colour charts. Oh, yes, it's this little one here. And it's got a little 3-digit code. Yeah. I mean, nowadays, there are trillions of different types of colours of paint out there. There's no way on earth you'd ever have a 3-digit code anymore. Yeah, special. It's a beautiful thing. And it's neat in here. We should talk about this car in particular. It's not got a battery on it, so obviously that's been taken off for storage. But actually, it's pretty clean in there for a 77 car. There's not a lot of rust this side. I don't know about your side, but there's a bit of, where it's been splashed up on this, that and the other, but... Inner wheel arch on this side and inner wing is very, very clean. Yeah. Yeah, down at the bottom on the chassis leg, there's a bit at the very front. Yeah. The brake servo is giganticus. Huge. The clips that go on the hoses between the brake master cylinder and the brake reservoir and the primary brake cylinder, well, those clips that hold those hoses on are beyond repair, perished, need repair. Need changing. They're rusted through. And of course, in pots like that are very important. Oh, I'll tell you what, look at this. What's that? Can you see this little box down here? I think somebody's fitted an electronic ignition system to this. Oh, really? That looks like a... I can't really see. I can't see what it says, but it seems to have a ragtag of about 3 miles of wire, all bundled up and tied together with insulation tape leading directly to probably either that or an immobiliser.
That was the thing, wasn't it? At this sort of, just a bit after this.
With the state of the wiring, that could easily act as a immobiliser.
Remember when they used to do that thing, and they put an immobiliser, and then they used to cut the tabs off the wires that told you where they are, what they did. Oh my goodness! Can you imagine trying to unravel that?
That's very lovely down there. I mean,
it's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, it goes along with the theme of the car. The exterior is elegant. The interior is elegant and a little bit of a sort of mishmash of ages, I have to say. Engine bay and engine, one of the most elegant engines that has been created by mankind, I think.
And it's a standard layout in there.
I'm just going to touch it again.
Beautiful engine.
Just for the history. Just for the fact that that has won 5 or maybe 6 Le Mans. 5 Le Mans, I think.
And it's won the heart of millions of people.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Bonnet goes down. Catches on either side at the front. It hinges forward. It's very, as with everything else, it's very elegant. So shall we go round the car and have a look at the paintwork?
General condition.
Shall we have a break before we do that?
Quick one.
Do you know what I'd like to do?
What's that?
Put my glasses on.
Really? Yeah. When viewing things, that's sometimes be quite handy.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
So we'll have a commercial break?
Yes.
OK, go on then. We're back.
Welcome back. After we've had a nice cup of tea.
We have.
And some biscuits. You know that's our favourite, don't you?
So we're back with our rather beautiful 76 R registrationed Daimler Sovereign Coupe.
Pillarless.
Pillarless.
Oh, it's 4.2.
And when you say pillarless, it's peerless as well, isn't it? Because it's a beautiful thing. Its proportions are exceptional, aren't they?
I think it just works really well. They chose the short wheelbase car to do this on, and I think the numbers add up.
Yeah. It's elegant.
Something special, something special. So I think it's time we go around and start to pick some holes in it in general. So far, we've been singing its praises, its glory.
Because of what it is, really. Yeah. It's got a few issues under the bonnet, bits and pieces. Yeah. Pretty good, I would say.
It's very tidy, but it's certainly not crisp. But it is unmolested.
It is unmolested, and that is a big plus when you're talking about a classic car. Just to clear things up, are we being offered this car?
I was going to wait for you to ask that.
Oh, well, it's a very good job I asked it then.
Yeah, we are actually being offered this car.
Because I love it.
Well, so do I.
Yeah, of course.
But I think the sums are everything. Let me start off with the main one.
Yeah, what are we being offered it for?
£6,000.
Oh, well, that's
6,000 English pounds. It does seem.
I mean, we haven't had a look underneath it yet.
No, we haven't.
I mean, that could be the killer of it.
It seems almost too good to be true because the car presents quite well.
Yeah.
But I'm looking now, and I can see, just starting. I'm stood in front of the car, in front of the grille, and the grille itself is in good sound condition. But there's the crazing in the chrome, in the flutes.
And there's a bit of pitting on the bumpers, isn't there, which you would never get out because that's gone past the point. But it polishes up nice. And
it would. You can make it look a ton better.
You can make it look better, but it's never going to be...
Yeah, you couldn't make it better.
No, exactly not.
I'm walking down the passenger side front wing at the moment, so I'm seeing there's a fair bit of, spotty rust along the seam where the bonnet joins the wing.
I can start. This has had a paint job, and it looks like water ingress in the.
Yeah, and I can see
across the scuttle as well.
I can see on this side of the scuttle, on the passenger side, where paintwork has sort of been blended into existing paintwork, and there's tiny bit of bubbling just on that edge.
Yeah. Yes, in actual fact, it's had quite a lot of paint.
The chrome trim around the windscreen rubber is, a bit like the bumper. You could make it look a lot better, but you couldn't make it better.
And also, there's a ominous-looking bulge at the top here, which could well be a rust bulge, or it might just be where it's not in properly, because it's where it joins, isn't it?
You would hope for the latter, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
But you'd probably prepare for the former, but...
Going down the door on the passenger side, well, do you know, that all looks very nice, actually. The paintwork on this door is fair.
Yes.
And on the rear quarter, I say the rear quarter, is about 5 miles long.
It's a big rear quarter, isn't it? It's a rear half.
That's got to be a good 8 foot long. It's close on half of the car. And
same again.
Down this gap, we've got 2 filler caps, as was standard, twin tanks.
Yeah, twin tanks.
On Jaguars,
lovely,
most Jaguars of this vintage.
Is it twin tanks or is it just twin fillers?
It is twin tanks, yeah. I can't remember, but there's something in my head saying 10 gallons each, which doesn't really seem like an awful lot, does it?
No,
I may well be wrong. I'm sure somebody would be happy to correct me.
But you forget what a gallon, how much a gallon is, don't you? Compared, because we work in litres so much now.
We're about 4.5 litres, 4.54 or something like that.
So it's a lot. So that's if that's 40 odd litres either side.
Yeah,
that's a proper tank, isn't it?
It is a proper tank. But I mean, that engine up there has got it's a voraciously hungry engine.
Yeah.
It has an appetite for consuming fuel.
I've just lifted the boot, and it looks like the toolkit and the jack and that's all in here.
Brand new.
That's amazing, isn't it?
It does. The carpets are spotless.
Yeah. That's very nice.
And complete. There's boxes with various bits and pieces. Oh!
Few spares.
Window seals.
Oh, that's interesting.
This car's always had a problem with leaking on the window seals.
Yeah.
I'm trying to just pop the edge of the carpet up so we can see the well below. Oh, I'm just going to have to get me penknife on this, just to pick away at the edges.
I'm not keen to let go. Oh, actually, it's staying up. OK. Look at that. OK.
Just lifting up the carpet. There's a whole series of events you have to get through to get to the actual spare wheel.
Yeah, there's some wing nuts on either side.
Oh, they're those little quarter turn jobs.
Oh, deuce fasteners. Yeah. Let's have a look.
Oh, that wasn't me. That was Gus.
There's the spare. There's the spare. And actually, if you look at the well, from what I can see, it's actually in pretty good nick. There's not a lot of rust in there, is there? So it
does look very good.
Water in there.
I've not seen any. You know, these cars did always suffer with quite a bit of rust in areas like the sills, which we haven't got to yet.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, talking about rust. The rear bumper has a fair amount of... The chrome's properly burst through, and brown rust is coming through in a very even haze all over the rear bumper.
And that's never really going to be...
Yeah.
I mean, that needs to be
that
re-chromed,
polishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you may well be able to find one of those in actual fact, but that's a lot of steel to chrome, isn't it? It's a very big bumper. Wraps all the way around the side of the car in that very, very elegant sort of swing.
I think they do split into component bits, yeah.
Do
that
they?
Splits behind this dumb iron.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Dumb iron on either side above the exhaust pipe.
It goes down.
Well, we're here.
Come on, let's go
Shall we have a look underneath?
Let's go under and have a look.
Poke our heads under the back of the car, which, incidentally, we haven't jacked up.
Because we don't have... Well, this side is unmolested and without rust. I
found something interesting.
What have you found?
See this rear valance, lower valance?
Yeah.
So going from the bumper down, the valance runs underneath the car and joins in with the boot lid.
Yeah.
Is this recent spot welds?
Oh, they are.
MIG plug welds. Well, it looks like this rear valance has been replaced.
It does. It does, doesn't it? And
yeah.
Not particularly beautifully, I have to say.
But the side quarter balances also look very good and may have also been replaced. They look too good to be original. Squeezing forwards to the axle.
So is that inboard discs on this as well?
Yes.
Oh, they are, aren't
discs.
they? That was sort of E-Type started that business, didn't it?
Yeah, it was something they ran for years.
Yeah.
This independent rear suspension setup. It was great, and it was nicked out of Jags for all the high-powered custom cars and motorcycle trikes that people made. And remember in the sort of 70s or 80s, there was that habit of jacking up the back of a Ford Cortina.
Yeah.
So it was a weird look. I never really got it. But they'd often stick a Jag axle in those.
It was a thing, wasn't it? And a lot of kit cars had it, didn't they? In the sort of late 70s, early 80s, a lot of kit cars used this.
Yeah, you'd read the advert for the kit car and it would just say Jag rear end. Yeah,
Jag rear suspension, because it was so effective and very chunky. It's got twin shock absorbers with coil springs over them, twin on each side.
Mine look brand new on this side of the car.
They look new on this side as well. It's got made in Germany. Written on the bottom, I can just see that. But they've been replaced, haven't they?
Yeah, because I wouldn't imagine that Jaguar Daimler would be allowing anything but made in England from original.
Which is weird, isn't it? Because Daimler was originally a
Oh, yes, exactly. Yeah, funny. Yeah, it was. I think they did issue a little bit. You've got 3 main oil seals in that differential.
Yeah.
Input and 2 outputs.
Yeah.
We're going to, the 1976/77 car, we're going to allow it a little bit of ooze here and there. It's not dripping, is it?
No, it's not dripping. And it's actually, the suspension's in good nick this side. It's not rotted. It's got stainless steel exhaust. Someone's spent some money on this car, haven't they?
Yeah, the disc on this side looks healthy and presentable. The disc
this one does as well. It looks like it hasn't been used for a very long time other than to push it
around.
Yeah, push it around.
But it's been dry stored.
Yeah, I'd say if you could get this up. Oh, sorry, Will. If you could get this up in the air, you'd be happy with that, wouldn't you?
From what I can see so far underneath the tail end of the car, now, knowing a tiny bit about these, it's worth a good look along the sill.
Yeah. See, this sill is in good nick, without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh, wow, look at that.
That's really good.
This is perfect.
So perfect. Do you think it's been replaced? I'd say it would be replaced.
Well, I'm just looking for signs of, manual welding, as in MIG-welded plug welds, which would be standard. And I think I can't see any. So I'm now rubbing the these sills are far too good to be original. We can see there's been a lot of painting topside.
Yeah. And that whole exhaust system is stainless.
It looks stainless, yeah.
Yeah, it really, I mean, that's an expensive system, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, somebody's invested.
Yeah. But it looks good under here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I think you'd have to start thinking about whether, if you did purchase this car, 6 it seems, for the amount of work that's been done to this car, the state that this car is in, I would say that, you'd have it, wouldn't you? You'd have it all day long, because, I mean, what would you do to this car? You've got to get it going, haven't you? OK, I can see there's a brake pipe here that needs replacing. There's got to be stuff, hasn't there? I mean, but hold on, if we can get it for 6, I've been doing a bit of research. Let me come at this from a different angle. It seems like, the sales value of good representations of this car can sort of vary between 20,000, which is a lot, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Up to 50, which is mind-blowing. So for an immaculate, I mean, far beyond anything. We would never try and achieve that. No, but you'd try and put this back on the road, wouldn't you? Yeah, I think if we were to try and buy this car for the 6, it would be a pretty big budget doing it up. But the bits of chrome that we've been looking at. Well, that's something you could do, couldn't you? The presentation of it, we could get those re-chromed, couldn't we? Which would be a nice touch. It would, or find slightly better ones. And polish the bejeepers out of everything that we can. Yeah. The sills, the rear valance, the underside of the car are so presentable. I can see there's a tiny bit here on this floor pan that just do with cleaning. Yeah, you can see this sort of rust down here where it's just been sitting, I think, isn't it? Rust. Yeah, it is. So, I mean, you could spend a lot of money on this car. You could get everything re-chromed. You could, strip it down. You could respray the whole car. The car needs some paintwork. The front wings need painting. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That's the balance, as ever, the balance between amount of work that you do to a car for the amount you're going to get to it. That's the compromise always, isn't it? But let's just say we got it for 6 and spent 4 on it. So the price is great. I think that's a great price for this car because what these cars obtain. Yeah, I think the price is low because this car, even though it does sort of seem to present quite well to us. Yeah, exactly, to us now. We don't know what the brakes are like, We're quite easily pleased. Well, we are because we like the car. That's the trouble. Yeah, exactly. So that's our problem. We'd be buying with our heart rather than our head. Well, as if we've never done that before. No, exactly. But I can't see how we couldn't manage to make profits on it, or at least make something on it. Yeah. So maybe, we're definitely not going to achieve the 20 to 50 brackets. No, we're not. There's a wide bracket between 6 and... I think you'd probably get into the teens, maybe. Up 12. Into the teens. Maybe 12. Yeah. OK, so if you take this car to a paint shop and say,
here's a complete car, can you paint it?
Yeah.
They'll go, yes, you will do a nice job and it's going to cost you minimum $6,000.
Yeah, I'd say.
But we wouldn't do that, would we?
Well, we wouldn't be able to because then we'd probably be at our target. We'd probably use up all the money, so we'd have to do it ourselves.
So we'd have to do it ourselves. We'd do all the work, but then we'd get one of my mates in who's really good at painting.
Yeah.
And get him to do us a favour and come and do the actual paint work.
Yeah, exactly that.
We'll
so we
do
all the prep, all the time consuming, all the undercoating, etc., 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 get it flat.
Yeah.
That would be the thing to do, wouldn't it?
Final coat put on by a friend of mine who'd be able to come and whiz it out in an afternoon.
Yeah.
And in our Flipping Bangers paint booth.
Exactly, yes. Which
is very rudimentary. And
we're going to call Camp Vernon, aren't we?
Camp Vernon, yes. Yeah. The mini marquee inside the workshop.
It's a great idea. But the other things, the things that we don't know about the brakes. We don't know how much it's going to take to get it running, do we?
The owner tells me that it does actually drive quite nicely, and he's somebody I know, so I trust his opinion.
Was it running when he parked it up?
Drives and works very... Yeah, it was running and driving the last time he used it.
Yeah.
No, it's a joke. He assures me that there's not a ton of work that needs doing on the mechanical side.
Yeah. That's the thing, it's the hiddens, isn't it? It's the hiddens, but even though I am clearly glossing over the hiddens, because I can't help but think if we could get this for $6,000, it'd be a great bargain.
Yeah, it just seems it, doesn't it?
It seems like it.
It does, really, really does. But then it's a lot of car with a lot of expense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's the answer?
Well, the answer is try and get it cheaper. We're not going to do that. So the answer, as ever, is, well, you'd do it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I think we would, wouldn't we?
I think we'd probably take a massive gamble on it.
Yeah.
And probably by the skin of our teeth, break even or maybe even make a profit.
Yeah, we'd make a profit on it, without a doubt.
Yeah. Results on our thoughts.
Conclusively, we'd have it, wouldn't we?
We would.
Of course we would.
Great,
coming with us.
Yes,
perfect.
We've got a Jag.
Great.
Well, we haven't, but...
No. Well, it's a day.
In my mind, we've bought it already.
Good. Right, so we're going to call it a day there, aren't we?
We are, yeah.
Until we come back in. It's been lovely to see. What a beautiful car.
Oh, that's been a real treat.
Yeah.
That really has.
Thank you for that. I mean, I really appreciate it, because it is a...
You can't believe my excitement when I heard about this car, and I thought, that's definite podcast material.
Yeah. I love it. Absolutely love it.
So...
Sorry about the droning going on. There's a bit of jet washing going on next door.
Yeah, but hey, everybody, thank you ever so much once again for listening to us to rabbit on about something we can see and you can't.
Yeah, so we're going to be back next week. We've got more cars to do, so we're going to be back next week. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
The Flipping Bangers podcast features Gus Gregory and Will Trickett. It's produced by Dan Allum and is a Just Mike TV production. International copyright is asserted. No opinions in the show are personally held. Audio engineering is by Stephen O'Toole, and we've used a sample composed by Lakey Inspired. If you'd like to get in touch, please visit justmike.tv or chat to us via Instagram at Flipping Bangers. Thanks for listening.